Prepare New South Wales, Person-Centred Emergency Preparedness, or PCEP. Functional capabilities and support needs in emergency situations. In this video, a client and community healthcare provider demonstrate the PCEP. They engage together in the process to identify Marge's functional capabilities and support needs, first in everyday life, then in the context of a natural hazard emergency.
The project's called Prepare New South Wales,
Yes.
and it's obviously about emergency preparedness planning, and the focus is on people with disabilities or chronic health conditions,
Yep.
and their support networks in the community. And our main focus for this video is a teaching tool that will help people like Mary and their colleagues who do home visits to be able to learn to use a tool like this,
Yes.
have a conversation a little bit like we just had,
Yes.
and encourage people to think about their preparedness plan. And the next step of our video will be about trying to profile what do people's plans look like once they've had a think about it and taken some time to reflect on it, coming back to talk about what actions they think they might take. We go around the tool and we ask you to think about the things that you'd like to talk about or that you think are relevant mostly to support during an emergency. And the first thing you noted right away was your son and daughter who are nearby and can help.
My daughter's a social worker, so she's very understanding. She's pretty close. She has to work and she has to look after the boys. And then I've got a son, about 15 k's out. He is wonderful. He helps me with the computer and the wheelchair, and he made the ramp, and he can do all those things, and he's very willing and very kind. A very helpful library service, and a lady who delivers books every fortnight, and she delivered 2 today, and it's a good librarian who makes good selections for me, and I get my eyes opened wide to all sorts of things that I'd never thought of. And then I've got Christian friends 2 doors up, and they're willing to be on my vital call and very helpful. So that's my main social support. Well, we do communication.
Yeah, we can do that.
I wear my phone around my neck all the time, so I can usually answer anybody. And I've got a computer, and I can send out emails. Transportation, well, that's easy for me. I can go in the wheelchair taxi. And sometimes if my children want to take me somewhere, they'll take me out in this chair, which folds up, and they'll hoist me into the passenger seat. But I don't like to ask anybody else to do that. Housing and living situation. This was a lovely house for me to come home to. It's all on one level. The bathroom's close to my bedroom, big enough to turn around and manoeuvre the wheelchair in. The family changed some of the fittings. They took away the cupboard that was under the sink and under the laundry trough, and now I can get in under those. Assistive technology.
Well, it's all the support you get from equipment, but not people.
Well, the wheelchairs are wonderful. The commode chair was very stiff and hard to manage, and my good son took the wheels off and cleaned it up and oiled it, and now it's going like a charm. My other power chair is very useful for going out in the taxi, usually out a couple of times a week. I can go quite independently.
With this kind of tool, this is the start of a conversation. The idea is to get you thinking about it and have you thinking about it a few days from now, and when you see your daughter or your son next, have a conversation with them about it too.
Yes.
Just so that it sustains the kind of thinking that, what would we do collectively if something were to happen and I couldn't just dial 000 or I couldn't rely on a health service. It is important to know the emergency numbers and to have that as a backup. If we go a little deeper into the next scenario, it gets a little bit scarier because it's possible that SES or police or ambulance are busy with other emergencies.
Yes.
Maybe they're stuck behind a flood line, or maybe they're home supporting their families, or something else has happened in their life or situation.
Yes.
Images of bushfire, flood, heatwave, house fire and storm are displayed.
Given that context, if there was an emergency of some kind, something that made you have to leave your house, we have to begin to think about, okay, where would we go? What would we need to take? What if you were stuck at home? Do you have the resources and the supplies? So those are the kind of two scenarios we're asking people to think about when they think again around that circle of their capabilities.
Yes. Do people have a suitcase of clothes to take with them, or does planning go that far?
I think you raise a really good point. If you went around the circle, not only clothes and personal hygiene stuff that you might want to have easy access, quick access, but what other things do you use that you want to make sure?
I suppose it would be good to take a catheter and a couple of bags.
Well, you'd need to think about your medications, Marge.
Yes, yeah.
To be able to have them. My birth certificate, passport, marriage certificate.
You did say you have a power chair when you go long distances and out in the community. So some things that people are encouraged to think about when preparing for natural hazard disasters is the battery, the life of the battery on your power chair, and making sure it's charged or having a backup battery and things like that.
Yes, I charge it every day, but it's a very valuable thing, and it'd be good to have it out of the house if the house was going to burn down. Maybe I'd have to transfer into the power chair and take the battery with me. I need my commode chair because it goes over the toilet and it's got a cutout.
That essentially is the kind of thing that this tool and this kind of conversation is meant to provoke.
Yes.
That sort of thinking. And to do it when there's no emergency in sight. We don't sort of foresee any particular bushfire or flood coming in the next 7 days or so.
Yes.
So it's a good time to plan and think about it.
In the next video, a client demonstrates person-centered emergency preparedness as a planning process. John shares specific worries he has in 3 functional areas. He shares the preparedness actions he has taken and his current stage of self-advocacy as he furthers his preparedness plans in collaboration with his disability support provider. The Prepare New South Wales project received funding from the New South Wales Community Resilience and Innovation Programme, a programme funded under the Joint State and Commonwealth Natural Disaster Resilience Programme. For more information, visit www.collaboratingthenumber4inclusion.org/prepare-NSW/. The University of Sydney logo is displayed.